Shane's Rib Shack for a Thursday night back at Shane's Basketball in Focus. Got some good guests lined up tonight, a number of people to talk to. Got Coach Johnnie Richardson with us from Greensboro Day School. Coach Richardson here. And first of all, great win the other night against Wesleyan. You guys feel good about that? And there's a lot of happy people at Greensboro Day this week.
You know, it's just one game in many. We have another conference game Friday. So
now, who do you play Friday?
We play for Forsyth Country Day.
So now you got to get focused on Howard West, the veteran coach at Forsyth Country Day, and his team. They got a good team too.
Oh yeah, they're really good. They're really good. But yeah, we just play one game at a time. I will say Wesleyan, they're the two-time defending state champs, so they're the team in the area. So they hadn't lost over there in 3 years, I think.
Wow, 3 years they've been.
3 years, and they're loaded. So they got a very good coach. So
yeah, a good game and a good win. And what about the defense? Defense, you guys held them to what, 48 points in that game. Got to feel good about your defense.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we tell our kids when you struggle to score, your defense will keep you in games, and defense wins championships. So.
Where do you think it all started the other night for you guys? Where did it all begin as far as the way you were able to get that win and beat Wesleyan? What was the inside as far as for you guys? What made that win happen?
Just playing hard and executing the game plan. I mean, Freddie's he's an icon, and Jeff's a defensive guru, and so getting the boys to play, outside of themselves and not let the atmosphere get to them and just execute the game plan.
Yeah, the good thing, too, you guys got the same type of effort from the substitutes you got from the starters. You couldn't tell the difference. There was no layoff, no letdown. When the reserves came in, everything continued at the same level, same pace.
Right, and they know they got to be ready to go when their number's called, and if you don't give the same effort and intensity, you don't play. So
you've got a pretty good combination this year coming off the bench with J.P. Mormon and John Newman. Those guys come in together quite a bit, and they play pretty well when they come in and give you a couple of tall bodies, a little extra length, and they both play big too.
Yeah, and they're young, and they have a lot of potential, and they're learning how we do things at the day school. John's been there for a couple years, and but he didn't play last year. He was hurt, and Newman came over this year, so. But they do a great job.
Yeah, the Mormon kid's hungry, too, because he came after that big steal. I talked to Coach Johnson about that in the postgame. He had that big steal late in the game, which was a big play for you guys.
That was huge because you had a chance to go down the court and score, and that's just you look at it and it's like a veteran play, and coming from a young kid, so that was nice. That was good.
And you go back and evaluate, kind of break it down a little bit. You don't want to get too critical, but you're thinking, well, the big man was bringing the ball up the court. You should be able to steal that ball. You should be able to take it away.
I don't know. Harry's good, though. He busts out all the time, and he can get them into our offense, and we want to make sure that when he busts out, we got people back in transition. But he's pretty solid. I mean, he's the second-ranked player in his class.
Yeah, and is Quay Parker, I think it's Quay Sean Parker from Fayetteville now with them this year. He's also in that junior class, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, he's got to be ranked high in that junior class, too.
Goodness. And he's explosive, athletic, and a great kid. And I see him on the AU circuit all the time. And but yeah, they got the point guard Childress. They had the shooter Buckland.
The Johnson kids, some of those kids were a little quiet that night. Maybe Buckland and Johnson, they're both a little bit quiet against you guys, and I'm sure the defense had a lot to do with that. And the Quay Parker kid, if you don't let a guy get off and get started, don't let him get started, let him start taking off and keep him a little bit under check, you're a lot better off in the beginning. Once a guy like that, because watching that kid over at UNCG on Monday in the Martin Luther King Day games, a kid from Trinity Christian of Fayetteville, I guess that was probably Parker's team last year, the kid Dennis Smith Jr. Once you let a guy like that get a big dunk, get a couple of slams, and get into it, the atmosphere kind of changes. If you don't let that guy get started, you're a lot better off to begin with.
Yeah, and you're right. You're absolutely right. And, like I said, he's long, he's athletic, he can play inside out, he can shoot the three ball. You just hope that you execute your game plan, and the kids. We did a pretty good job.
You guys got quality depth, and your depth may be in some ways a little stronger than theirs. They had the one kid, T.J. Jackson, came off the bench. I would hate to try to go up against him. He's so doggone big, but maybe they only went about 6 deep. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah. I think that's about right. 6 or 7 deep, and they've played a brutal schedule. I mean,
they've been everywhere.
So
I think they probably knew coming into the season they were going to be good, which everybody knew they were going to be good.
Yeah.
But they decided probably a smart move to go ahead and load that schedule up while you've got that type team and you got those kids with the name recognition. Load that schedule up, play as many games as you can, get those kids as much exposure as you can.
Right. And Keith Gatlin's done a great job doing that. Like I said, 2-time defending state champs, and put numerous numerous kids in college. So he's running an awesome program.
Yeah, every time you turn the TV on the weekends, you're going to see some of that Brandon, Monte Brandon, the kid from him a couple of years ago, Florida State, saw him on TV last weekend playing well. I know he had about 13 points in that Saturday game against NC State, which is pretty good.
Yeah. He's actually, I think another game, he was the leading scorer for Florida State. So, yeah, he's come along pretty well. So.
And the Gilmore kid, Donovan Gilmore, is playing for someone. I think maybe College of Charleston, and doing pretty well down there, too.
Yes, he's doing well.
I think a lot of those kids, like you say, he's got at least 3 or 4 Division I players on his team right now, Coach Gatlin does. And a good battle between Peter Ogba and Harry Giles III, because you look at Harry Giles, he had like 21 points, but Ogba had 18. That's almost kind of like on the same level. You didn't let him get a few more there. And just very good job by Peter Ogba. The shots he took, his shot selection was good. He didn't, I think, this is my personal evaluation stuff here. We'll let Coach Richardson kind of say what he thinks about this evaluation. But think about Ogba. He didn't try to take it to Harry, but he pulled up, took some little shots about 3 feet from the bucket. Didn't try to go right in his face, but pulled up and took very smart shots, very selective shots, and it paid off for him.
Well, and Harry's 6'10", and Peter's 6'5", 6'6", so he took the quality shots that he needed to take. I mean, you go in there, you try to put shots up. I can't remember how many blocks Harry had in that game, but Peter took what was given. He took what was open and took the best. And he made the shots. He made the plays. So he had a really good game.
Some key rebounds too.
Yeah, he did. He did. He's a great rebounder. It was one of the things that is impressive about him. He's long and he plays longer than he is. His length and then he's active on the boards. So
yeah, and you look at him inside too. He boxes out well. I mean, he keeps people away from the basket, protects the basket defensively, which is a big thing for you.
Well, that's the reason why he'll be playing at Akron next year.
Moving up to the next level and doing a good job. He was the MVP back in the Hayco tournament, I think.
Yes, sir.
He's had a very good season. What about Darius Moore? Runs that point guard spot. I mean, he works his tail off. He's not afraid to take it to the basket. He'll take a beating, but he gets you double digits almost every night now, which is a plus for your point guards. It also probably gave you about 5 or 6 assists. You're getting a lot of mileage out of Darius Moore.
Well, he's our team leader, and we go how he goes, and he's the coach on the floor. He's having a great season.
He doesn't mind being the man, which some players sometimes have been a little bit tentative sometimes about taking that role, but he doesn't seem to mind being that man.
And he's been playing with CP3 for the past few years, so he's seen some high-level basketball. So he's used to playing at that level, so nothing rattles him.
It's funny too, because that's a great point you bring up. Some of these kids played against each other on that same level during the summer from Wesleyan and Greensboro Day. Some guys actually played together and played against each other. When they go out in the court and somebody says, he's taking it up against such and such, well, they've done that before. It's nothing new to them. In a lot of ways, it's just renewing old battles.
Yeah, old battles, old rivalries. And one thing I'll say about Darius, when he went down with that cramp, I knew that wasn't going to keep him out the game.
You wouldn't be able to go along.
No, that kid's he's a warrior.
He was in a lot of pain. Who came in and backed him up at point when he went out? I'm trying to remember. How does that work when he sits down? Who takes over?
We have a few we run. Will at the point.
We can bring committee.
Paul, or we got another young one, Jordan Perkins.
Oh yeah. Jordan did come in. I was sitting beside Jordan's dad, Reggie Perkins, senior, that night at the Wesleyan gym, and we're kind of watching the game. And Reggie had said Jordan had told him before the game, if I get him for a couple minutes in this big game, I feel like I'm doing something. And he did have his stretch. He came in for a couple minutes.
He did. He made one key defensive play.
He made a nice little cut pass. I remember somebody was cutting the basket, made a little nice cut pass too. Nice little assist attempt there as well. So that was you're getting a lot of mileage out of those kids. And then by Darius Moore, he probably, if you're playing a 32-minute game, he's probably going to be in there probably 28 minutes, maybe 30 minutes some nights for you.
Yeah, exactly. And that's another reason why he cramped. And, we tell the kids all the time, the level we play at, you got to stay hydrated.
You can't tell enough to drink water, and people don't like sometimes drinking water because sometimes water doesn't taste as good as those other beverages do. But gosh, water is the key, like you say. And it doesn't matter if it's in the winter, summer, spring, any time of the year. It's going to take a lot out of you. It's going to take a toll. You're playing a game like that. You got to get that water in there.
Yeah, you do. Get water, Gatorade, anything to get the electrolytes and carbs back in your body. So, but yeah, kids today, they got to stay hydrated.
And Will Dillard played big for you that night too. Will stepped up, had some big defensive plays, got off to a good start offensively for you, and played with a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm. He was excited about that game, and he enjoyed it. Looked like he was having fun out there.
Yeah, and he's young, another young one that has a lot of potential. I think he's benefited from having an older brother, Reggie Dillard, and seeing him playing against him and seeing him play at a high level. He's got some things to work on, but yeah, he was huge for us. He made some key buckets especially when we needed some scores to keep the game close.
And the funny thing is, there's a kind of a difference, I guess. You're watching Reggie and Will watching the games. Their games not all much alike in some ways. Will tends to be a little bit more with the pull-up shot, maybe not quite as much as the long shot. Reggie, he played big when he was younger. As Reggie got older, his outside shot became a big part of his game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then you have to develop. I mean, I tell kids all the time, you got to be a dual threat. You can't just be a slasher. You can't just be a shooter. Make yourself more appealing to college.
You got to get rid of that range. That range has got to come as you go along.
Right.
What about that kid? As we talked about J.P. Mormon and John Newman at Job Day. What about the McIntyre kid? He took the ball to the basket a couple of times and took it into a confidence. And I guess you can take it against Harry if you know how to lay it in when you go in against Harry.
You know, one thing I love about Mac is you're talking about a defender. He gets down in the stance. He usually guards the point guard, and he harasses. He's a smart player. I know last year we started off, I think, 2-3, and we put him in the starting lineup and went on a 20-game winning streak. And it starts with him at the head on guarding that point guard.
You're not going to find that guy that much in the box score as far as the scoring and stuff like this, stats that jump off the sheet at you. He's doing those intangible things to make you a better team. Yeah, you can tell the difference when he's out and he goes back in. It kind of changes how the game's played.
Well, I don't know if you watch, but and it was both cases. But when you have a kid like Marquell that can harass the point guard, you know, it makes them expend energy on both ends of the floor. So sometimes they come down, they might not have the legs to get that three-point shot off or drive to the hoop. So just little things like that. But him and Trevor, we call them our garbage men.
Oh, yeah.
So they do the things that you don't really see in the
Trevor
stats.
had 9 points that game, too, which is a good thing for him. And he does the same thing, like you said, McIntyre does. He does that garbage work and gets key rebounds, plays good defense, and he's smart about using his body on defense.
No, solid player. I mean, and I don't know if people realize that he guarded Harry Giles most of the game.
That's crazy.
And then
he's
last
probably
year,
lucky to be 6'2", isn't he? Maybe.
Yeah. And he embraces it. You know,
you got to guard a guy that's about 6'8", 6'9", maybe 6'10". Harry Giles, you cover him as a 6'2", 6'3" guy. You got to know how to use that body then. You got to know how to use those feet. Right. He did a good job of that.
Yeah, he did, and you know, he gets a lot of help. You know, with
you
Jeff.
had to do that, didn't you? Because you had to have one guy on the front side, another guy on the back side. Sometimes you have to have a guy on the side against Harry Giles. You got to sometimes converge on him with like 3 guys. Right. When he's on that baseline, about 2 or 3 feet from the bucket, it's like everybody jump in here.
You can't guard Harry one-on-one. I mean, it's just a fact. The kid is phenomenal. There's a reason why every college in the country wants him. You know, so
I guess Coach K's thinking if I get this guy like some of the other guys, maybe for 1 year at least, I'm going to be fortunate to have him on my team for a year. Could mean a national championship.
I'd like to see him in Carolina. That's what I'd like to see him.
I guess Coach Williams is hot on his heels too. I believe maybe my little inside thinking process is maybe out of whack. My inside thinking process tells me they went after Pinson hard because maybe if you get Pinson, there's always that shot you might get his teammate, get Harry Giles too, and you're already in the door. You might be saying, hey, rejoin your teammate. You guys play good together. You guys won championships together. Come join them and play with them again.
Yeah, and I can see that, but it could also work opposite. He might want to go somewhere and be his own man. Yeah.
He might want to go to the Big Ten. He might want to go to the SEC. Who knows? I mean, the Big Ten might be a good route to go these days. I've heard people say this is not the Harry Giles. We're sure talking about Harry because he is a big factor. I've heard people even say maybe he might want to go to Europe and play 1 year and just skip the college route, go to Europe, play 1 year, and come right back to the NBA. I've heard that talk.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up because, you know, Kobe Bryant made some comments about AAU and blah, blah, blah. And I feel like when kids, when they don't go to college if they only go for a year or they skip it, they lose that ability to get better. You know, I mean, the experience, the college experience, to learn the game at a college level, and then I don't know if they're mentally ready for all that entails is playing in the NBA. You know, I mean, even if you got a good surrounding cast, I mean, they're throwing millions of dollars at you. You're basically asked to be a grown-up and you're still a kid. So I would love to see kids stay in college a lot longer. If you look at some of the icons in the sport, Michael Jordan stayed 3 years. Tim Duncan 4 years.
Tim Duncan all 4 years, yeah.
So, and they were ready for the pros when they went in. So.
Exactly. And Duncan, it made a big difference. I mean, the college experience didn't help him. Just look at his track record in the pros, how many years he's been there, and his longevity factor.
Right.
What about next time when you play against Wesleyan? Do you do anything different next time, or are you looking about the same plan? Because I'm sure both teams will make adjustments going toward the next game.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, we'll make adjustments, but we'll just see how that plays out.
Between now and then, you got to see what happens in the next conference games.
Yeah, we're worried about that's what I was about to say. We're worried more about the next game and not West.
No, you can't focus.
No.
And that's one thing going in. There was a lot. There was just a ton of hype about that game, but you couldn't look at it saying the whole season is on this one game going to High Point this past Tuesday night. You guys had to focus on the whole season. And I think it might have been good for your guys a little bit. The fact there was a lot more attention brought toward Wesleyan than there was towards you guys. You guys actually kind of the quiet team going in. It might have helped you some.
Yeah, everybody loves being the underdog.
Yeah, and it's hard to believe, hard to imagine Greensboro Day could be under the radar. But you guys were a little bit under the radar going in. I think probably 7 out of 10, maybe 7.5 people out of 10 were maybe thinking Wesleyan was the favorite. You guys were going to lose that game. That's what they were saying going in.
But we could have easily lost that game. I mean, it's a 1-point game going into the fourth. It was tied actually going into the fourth quarter.
The hard part in basketball, in any sport really, is you get that 1-point lead. It's hard to get that 1-point lead to a 3-point lead. You want a little bit of cushion, but it's hard to get that 1-pointer going to 3. You get it to 3, it goes right back to 1. You can't get it to 5. You won the game about 5 or 6. If you can get that lead to 3 or 5, then you got a chance. But like you said, most of the game, it was tight.
Yeah, it was. And we had a tough conference. I mean, High Point Christian, we went to overtime to beat them at our place. And Forsyth Country Day is good. Davidson Day is really good.
Yeah.
I mean, we got one of the toughest conferences in the state.
All you got to do, I thought something got my attention, and it just got my attention because I hadn't seen them play yet. But when I saw where High Point Christian had played Wesleyan like 72-66, I said, there's got to be something up here. Then I saw Wesleyan or High Point Christian. I saw Christian on Monday play over against Page at the UNCG court for the MLK Day games. Then I found out with High Point Christian, they're not a bad team. They're a pretty good team.
No, they're really good. I mean, they have a lot of talent.
Different kind of team. Different.
Yeah.
Before
Small
it was like
ball.
the big man. Now it's outside shooting.
Yeah.
Three-point game.
And Coach, he's done a great job over there utilizing the talent that he has. So.
And you look at your AAU team. Take us back to when you got started. You just start out coaching back in the early. And you told me before a couple of years ago. Remember you said you began at one time you were at High Point Christian coaching the girls back in the old days.
Yes, I actually started at Westchester. I started middle school ball there, and then I was the varsity girls coach for 2 years at High Point Christian. And then I had an opportunity to come over and coach with Freddie, and you'd be crazy not to. I've learned so much with Freddie, Steve Shelton, and Jeff Smith. You think you're a good coach, until you actually get around those guys, and you learn that you really don't know the game like you think you do.
Did you expand your coaching realm and get onto the AAU ball after working at Greensboro Day? Is that when you began to become an AAU coach too?
Yes, I started with Freddie coaching with the Greensboro Gators, and I was assistant with him to learn the ropes and everything, and then I decided I wanted to do it, but I wanted to make sure that I did it for the right reasons. I didn't want. It's not about me. It's about the kids.
Yeah.
And it's about teaching them the game. I coach AAU to get them better for school ball.
Right.
That's why I coach AAU, and college coaches want to see them play like they play in school, like they're going to play for them. They don't just want to see them run up and down the court. So I understand what Kobe was saying in that sense, but it's a lot of coaches at the grassroots level, AAU, that's doing it the right way.
And what age group were you coaching when you started at AAU? And are you still at the same age group now?
I started with 6th grade boys.
6th grade boys.
Chandler Peraldo was on that team, and KJ Langley, Darius Moore came along in the 8th grade, and KJ actually came along in the 8th grade. But started off with 6th grade, and I've just gradually gone on.
Did you stay with the same group?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Growed up with those guys. And how old are all those kids you're with now? What about this past summer? How old was that team?
That was a 17U team.
Wow, I guess that's when you're getting close to coaching against Clarence Waddell and his guys.
Yeah, actually, I coached team Felton 17U, and we played pretty good. We didn't win a tournament, but that wasn't the issue or what we were trying to do. We were trying to get maximum exposure for the kids, and a lot of them came away with a lot of interest, and quite a few of them came away with offers. So.
A couple of years ago, you went down to Orlando, because I remember telling you on the phone that day. I was at the downtown library taking notes on you. You just, I think, finished second in the national tournament down in Orlando. Yeah,
that was exciting. I mean, you never forget those days, and what I love about it was the journey with the boys getting there and seeing the boys grow. We started off as D3 players, playing tournaments, and graduated up to D2 and eventually to D1, and to see them mature fundamentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, that's been that journey. That's been rewarding for me.
It's good to see those guys stay together and be friends, be like a family almost.
It is, and see them reach their goals and their dreams, and you're almost like a dad,
Oh, sure you are.
You're just so proud of them.
And think about, go back to Chandler Peralta, because he passed away last week I think back about January 15th. You spoke at his funeral back on Monday. Tell us what some of the things you talked about and some of the things you said at the funeral back on Monday in honor and in memory of Chandler Peralta.
Yeah, Chandler was, is really passionate, really fiery, and when I told the congregation that he played with a lot of passion and energy, he walked that fine line between cockiness and confidence. He was my point guard, and he's a leader, he's a coach on the floor.
He's a quarterback, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the toughest role on the court. And I did tell him one story where he hated losing, really hated losing, and we were walking to shake hands, and he was getting ready to take his jersey off. And I said, Chandler, if you take that jersey off, I'm going to put it back on and tie it so tight you'll be wearing it at your wedding. So, but he was just fiery competitor like that, and I love that about him. It was, ironic that his number was 3 because he could shoot the 3-ball like crazy.
Yeah.
He learned, I know he worked out a lot with Delaney Rudd on shooting and stuff, and Delaney really got his jump shot tight, so.
And you look back at, like you talk about a fiery player, I mean, that was his edge, his competition. That was what he was all about.
Yeah, it was. And the thing about it, he was more facilitator. He looked to get, other kids the ball, put them in positions to score, to actually put us in position to be successful.
When did you first meet him and connect with Chandler back in the day?
6th grade. I was, coaching Team Phoenix. I think he was playing with the Gators, and I don't know if he was getting a lot of playing time or not, but he came over to the Phoenix, and then he brought Jared Henderson. He said, I know another kid that wants to play, and so man, it was a match from there.
Good family, good
great
people,
family.
and definitely going to miss him. And a good crowd turned out on Monday at his funeral, Chandler Peralta. And you think about the overall situation too. If you had to go back and do it all again, would you change anything? This journey, you mentioned it being a journey, because it has been a journey. Anything you changed, went back and did it all over again?
No, I mean, because if you think about it in that aspect, that means you have regrets.
Yeah.
I have no regrets, and I'm still enjoying the ride, just being with these kids every single day.
So you're ready for the next step.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And you kind of look at it overall, do you consider winning, is winning fun or is winning satisfying? I was about that this week. Sometimes everybody says winning's fun, have a good, I say, we're having fun, we just reach a certain level of satisfaction.
Right. Yeah, and of course winning is fun, you want to win, but at the end of the day, when kids have to deal with adversity, it builds character, it teaches them that life is not going to always go the way you want it. The ball's not going to always bounce the way you want it to bounce, so you have to be able to deal with that aspect too. And
Coach,
you can't win every single time on the court, so how you handle losing speaks a lot of your character as well.
Speaking of your character, you're a busy man, you had practice, you came into this show with us, now you got to get to work. Johnnie Richardson, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And again, if you had one final word to say about, how would you sum up maybe in one word, Chandler Peralta?
Fiery, compassionate. It's just hard to describe him in one word, but I love that kid, still do. He'll always be in my heart, and I'm going to miss him.
Coach, thank you again.
Thank you.
Good luck against Forsyth Country Day tomorrow night.
All right, thank you.
Johnnie Richardson with us at Shane's Rib Shack. We've got John Brewer up next, and we've got other people.